Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 63 of Push2Plat. I hope you are having a wonderful week. What with everything going on around the world, it is definitely time to kick back, relax, and talk some games. Well, look, relax might be an interesting word today when you meet our guest, because I have a feeling he doesn't relax very often in the games that he plays. We are very privileged today to have a wonderful, high skilled, high tolerance for pain, I think, as well, gamer with us here today from Belgium. He needs no introduction. He goes by the tag "Impossible is Nothing." I don't know about that either. This is the wonderful gamer who has platted Crypt of the NecroDancer. That's right, listeners. You don't need to check your profile. You have not platted it. You will not plat it, but he has. He is the first platinum achiever in Badlands. As I said, from Belgium, Floriiss, how are you today, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for asking. As well as inviting me for your podcast. Pleasure to be here to talk about some games and trophy hunting.
You're most welcome. You are the first guest we've had that has more ultra. Well, you have the most ultra rares that I've
Oh,
ever seen.
oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's nice. The guest with the most ultra rare trophies. Okay, cool.
Yes, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
look, to put this in context, if you don't know, we're gonna get into who he is in a moment, listeners. But there's been rumors that I like the 5 minute game, listeners. You know that I don't play anything challenging, but it's not true. I have 81, Floriiss, 81 ultra rare trophies. This man has 1,622. So it's very close, really, isn't it? I mean, it's just a couple of numbers different, really. So
Nearly there,
what?
man. Nearly there. Keep up the good work. And
Yeah, well, I think I'm going backwards, But anyway, the drama of these trophies. But let's enough about me. Let's get into a little bit about you, sir. Maybe would you like to tell our listeners about your gaming history, how you got to this point with PlayStation?
Oh yeah, sure. No worries. Like just in PlayStation or like my whole gaming history, like all the way back to when I first, started gaming or
I would love to hear about how you started, how you even got into gaming. Yes.
okay, sure, sure. Okay. Oh man, that's that's a long time ago. Okay. I think my first console was the PlayStation 2, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
That's what we got me really into gaming. I don't know how old I was back then. I was like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 maybe. And yeah, maybe what was my first? Maybe some Harry Potter or something, some story games, and as well as some Digimon. I remember playing Digimon as well, and some Yu-Gi-Oh. And later on, I got a GameCube. You're probably familiar with the GameCube, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, on the GameCube, I played a lot of Mario Smash Football. That was one of my favorite games,
Oh,
and
fantastic.
Super Smash Bros. Melee as well. It's like that's one of the classics, It's a great game, and yeah, from there I also had like a Game Boy and played a lot of Pokemon Ruby. That was like the best Pokemon out there for me. That's one. Well, yeah, and all those games that got me really into gaming. But it was usually just a lot of story related games and just a lot of co-op games, just some fun games with friends. And
Mm.
yeah, later on I got a PlayStation 3, and that's what got me I think more into shooter games and a lot of FPS games. I remember my first game was Resistance. Yeah, just the Resistance, the first one. I don't not Fall of Man, I think was called. And I absolutely love that game, man. I stayed up all night, just playing a game, just shooting those zombies, just and yeah, it's not really zombies, it's like more creatures or whatever. And that got me really into FPS gaming more, and yeah, from there I just started, a lot of primarily FPS games. That's what I love the most. And from yeah, just from there continue to PlayStation 4, and on PlayStation 4 I try to expand my everything and just not only focus on FPS games but also on more like other type of games, like a lot of variety. I always say like variety is the spice of life, so gotta spice it up and play some other games as well. And yeah, now we are here today, almost a PlayStation 5 incoming. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's right. Now, I'm going to ask then, do you only really play on PlayStation these days, or do you play on other systems as well?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely only PlayStation for me. I've tried playing on PC. So one game I absolutely loved, I forgot to mention this, is Overwatch. When Overwatch came out, I played for like 1,000 hours or something. It was like a really fun competitive game, with friends. That's one game I really love, but I feel like the competitive scene on like console is a little bit, I don't know. It's a little bit not as they don't pay much attention to it as opposed to the PC scene. So on PC there's like a lot of competitive events and stuff, and on console it's like, man, it's like not really that big. So one time I tried to go to PC gaming, and I played
Mm.
like Overwatch for like I don't know, for a few hours, few days. But I never like played with a mouse and keyboard. So for me, it was like really awkward to get into that. I know. I feel like one advantage for PC is like having that, like like more FPS. Like everything felt so smooth compared to console. And when I wanted to go back to console, it was like it almost felt like weird. Like it's not as smooth as the PC gaming, but I feel like I got too late into PC gaming, and that is why I don't know. It feels so awkward just not having to aim with controller, with mouse and keyboards. I should put like a lot of time and effort into that if I want to get like really good with it. But yeah, I'm not really sure if I want to do that, as well as have. You need like a really good PC for that, just like a lot of good equipment and
Mm.
specs. And I'm currently only have like a laptop, and I got like an iMac, but that's not really a good computer for gaming. So it's not really, I don't know, it's not something I really don't see myself doing these days. But maybe, maybe in the future there's a possibility when I expand my equipment and get a really decent gaming PC or something.
I don't think it's any real loss for you because you do sound like Floriiss, like quite a positive person, and PC gamers, PC master race
Right.
gamers, they tend to hate life. They're very negative people because the system
Oh,
never
really?
works. They spend thousands of dollars,
Oh
thousands.
my
It
god.
doesn't work. They play with their drivers. The mouse is no good. Oh, it's just a nightmare. So I don't think you need to go down that path too much. Too much. So you're here to have fun as well. Those poor bastards. But look anyway.
Definitely, man.
Shout
That's
out to the PC Master Race, of course. Now, I've got to ask you, you dropped this word in here. This is a bit of a banned word on this show, but I'm going to allow it only because we have a Patreon that he plays PlayStation, but really all he wants to do is play Pokemon. He loves the Pokemon. And I noticed that you mentioned you have some experience with this series. You don't get drawn back in now? Have your Pokemon days finished, or do you still dabble a little bit?
that's a good one. I mean, whenever I see like the gameplay of Pokemon, always, I don't know, I feel like kind of nostalgic,
Mm,
and just like, oh wow, it's still something. It has like a soft spot
mm.
for me. But then again, I don't know. It's like when I see like when I look at like FPS game, or just like a lot of games where like more action is. I feel like that's a lot more fun for me these days, and just I don't know. I just feel like Pokemon is nice, but like I feel like how do you say it, outgrown it or something. Is that a
Yes, yes.
correct word? Like you grown out of the yeah, out of it. It's something from my early days. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, most people grow out of it. Most people, yes. So why don't we go into your name now? So we do first we do ask people, just the story behind their PSN username or whatever else. Now, before we started, I did apologize because I warned you I would keep changing the pronunciation of your name from Floriiss to Floriiss to
Okay.
flowers to all these things that you offered me. But I'd like to hear the
That's
proper pronunciation and the history there.
all right. So my name is Floriiss, and that's actually my real name. It's also like my username, but my username has like one more I and S, as and like a lot of people they misspell it, and I mean that's definitely I mean I can understand why, because it's like it can look like confusing, but like the origin of my name, it's literally like my real name, but then with some extra letters. Because when I wanted to create my username for my PlayStation account, I just wanted to have my name, but the issue with having that on PlayStation, oh, your name is already taken, get something else. So I wanted to have something that was really similar to my name, and no offense to anyone that has this, but I feel like if I wanted to put a lot of numbers behind my name, it I don't personally I don't like that. It's gonna. So I wanted to have something that looked really similar to my own name, and that's why I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna add another one or two more letters, and that's it. So that's really actually the origin of my name, and yeah, that's about it.
That's cool. I like that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Now, I want to just before we get into games and things of that nature, I want to ask you about this as well. We didn't talk about this in the intro before we started today, listeners. But Floriiss, he's very modest gamer. I can already tell. But you did
Oh,
have the mythical 100% profile. I imagine you will again in the future. I see you hit that last year.
mm,
I'm not sure if it's the first time you've hit
yes,
that or
correct.
not. I mean, you are. I think it's fair to say you're a completionist. Is that correct?
That is definitely correct, yeah, and that's also correct that I hit it like previous year. So I'm not sure what date, like November or something.
Mm.
Like I've made a post about this on the PlayStation Network profiles, but maybe I can just discuss it here as well. It's like I've actually never been a completionist, like not even with games and stuff, but trophies came around, and I started just just my primary goal was to obtain a platinum trophy for a game. That's what I wanted to do, and there's other DLC I didn't really care about, So
Mm.
one day, my brother invited me for some Resident Evil 5, I believe, yeah, because he wanted to finish the DLC. He wanted to have that 100% completion. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll help you out to do the co-op stuff, and that was actually a really fun experience. But at that point, like when I completed, because obviously I'm gonna help and I'll obtain up trophies as well. So I got that 100% as well, and I don't know, there was like this sense of accomplishment, just like I finally had experienced everything the game had to offer, and it was just nice to see that instead of just having that 70% platinum, it was like that 100%. You've completed everything the game had to offer. Then I think that changed my whole identity of just trophy hunting. Instead of just going for platinum trophies, I just wanted to finish every game, like including all of the DLC. And that was like I said, I think that was like 7 years ago when I started with that. Like shortly after I helped my brother, and from that point on, I just started slowly walking towards that goal. Just finishing up my games, and yeah, just completing every game. Just buying new DLC and just completing every game on my list. So it's been a long process, but yeah, finally here.
Yes. Yeah, I like that idea of seeing the whole game, as you say, by being a completionist. I often feel that way when I complete the latest 10-minute Ratalaika game, that I've really exposed myself to all they have to offer, which is it's a wonderful feeling. I'm sure you and the accomplishment as well. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful thing. But I want to ask, because you have 62 unearned trophies at this point, some from the Dissidia you're currently playing Sonic Forces and things like this. But one of the games that interests me that you have left uncompleted is Bloodborne at 10% from December of 2019. What's the story behind this game?
Oh, okay. That's a great one. Like when I started Bloodborne, like I was really looking forward, and everyone was so hyped about it. It's like, oh, it's such a great game. But I think it's like one of the first games. I know this like the Soul games are pretty difficult, and I feel like the core concept is like
Mm,
trial and error, but if those games, die and you just restart and you learn from it, and that's pretty much it. So I played like a few times
mm,
the first chapter, so I kept dying. I was like, okay, maybe later. But also during the time, it's been like a really hectic period of time for me because there's something about my eye in real life. I was about to graduate,
mm.
so I was working on my thesis, having to write a lot of stuff, and I was doing an internship as well. And it just like I had to make a choice. You want to play some games, or do you want to focus on what's really important? And for me, was really important was just finishing my college, is getting my degree. That was my utmost priority, and that's why when I kind of left some games on the side, and just like I need to focus on my school stuff first. And once I'm done, I'll get back to it, and that's pretty much what happened because I graduated and like with a pretty high how do you say it? Not degree, but high the grade. So it was a pretty
Mm.
good result, and yeah, that's really proud of. And now it's time to get back to some games, like including Bloodborne. But yeah, Bloodborne is it's still a fun game. I liked it, but like I died a lot, but it wasn't really the right time to play it for me. I think like at that time, it just
I mean, there's no judgment here. You know, if you don't complete a game, I can allow that. That's acceptable. But there's another one here as well. I assume this might be the same reason. Titan Souls at 7% from November. So that they're probably you'll come back to these or not.
yes, definitely, obviously, I'm like a completionist, and that's like those are like the 2 or 3 games I still have to do. But Titan Souls
Yeah.
actually quite funnily had a different reason, and I think
Oh.
some of your listeners might actually go hate me now because
Oh.
oh look at
Okay.
him. But nah, I don't know, man. Titan Souls, I played it for like the first like 50 minutes or 20 minutes, and it was literally like that's like I'm not sure if you've played that game before.
No. No.
Did you? Okay. So basically, it's like you have to go to all of the areas, and each area has like a certain amount of bosses. And when you
Mm.
enter the room, you have to kill the boss, and it just and then you continue. It's about killing those bosses as far as what I've experienced. But
Mm.
literally, I come into the room and I shoot one arrow and the boss is dead and it's over. And I'm like, yo, this game is way too easy, man. I'm just gonna hop off. I'm just gonna play something else. I need some more difficult. I don't know. It felt really strange. Boss is dying in one shot and then it's over. Like
Ah,
literally fights lasting for like 5 minutes, for 5 seconds. So it's like I was like, okay, no, I'm just gonna play some V6. That was like a platformer, and
yes.
yeah, it's something I need something more difficult. But I'll get back to it. So maybe I'll get. I'm pretty sure I'll get different, more difficult later on. So maybe I'm just cheering too soon right now. So, but yeah, that was like I was like, okay, this is a bit weird. I'm just going to play something else.
Oh,
So yeah,
I totally understand. I mean, a game that, where the bosses die in one hit, that's no challenge. I mean, there's no
yeah,
fun in that at all. So none at all.
just a bit.
People that do that, I question what they're trying to achieve. I mean, it's ridiculous. But anyway, look, that's I understand. I'm going to add that game to my list by the sound of it. Okay, good. So let's move on. So what we're going to do, listeners, we'll do a bit of the what we've been playing now, and then we're going to look more into some of these games that Floriiss has played, some of these big games as well that you do want to hear about. But before we get there today, let's jump in, if it's okay, sir, to what you've been playing recently. And would you like to start us off?
Oh yeah, sure, no problem. So for the past, yeah, I don't know, past weeks, I've played a lot of different games, and I'm not sure if I like said it before. Like like a lot of variety in my games, so I've pretty much been playing a lot of, yeah, a lot of bit of everything actually. So like Call of Duty World War Two, like it's like recently came in the PlayStation Plus lineup. Um, did a lot, a lot of Call of Duty is definitely one of my favorite game franchises. It's like when Call of Duty Modern Warfare One, it's like Call of Duty 4, I think, and obviously Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. That's like one of the biggest games ever. It's like I played a lot of multiplayer on there. Just I don't know, just FPS games is definitely my favorite. So I felt really good to just get back to the franchise and just. And Call of Duty World War 2 is definitely a great game. It's like an old school shooter. That's what I really enjoy.
Can I ask you a question about this game, the Call of Duty? Yeah. So the base game came available on Plus, but I believe the DLC is still all season pass is still purchase. Is that correct?
That is correct, I think. Yeah, I haven't really. I mean, I've seen that the Call of Duty World War Two is like on PS Plus, but I'm not sure if it's include DLC as well. But I don't think so. It's usually with a season pass. So,
Yeah. So what I wanted to ask was about the DLC because I see you've 100%ed this game.
correct.
So games like this, the problem a lot of, obviously perhaps not yourself, but a lot of gamers have is that they need a group to play these sort of things in. Are these DLC sort of co-op things and maybe a little bit of an extension of that? Do you have a group that you regularly play with for these sort of things?
That's a great question. Yes, I do actually. So obviously, I have my brother. Like I said, like I helped like 7 years ago. That my brother to get some trophies, and he's always down to just help me out on getting like certain trophies. and like especially on FPS games, because we play a lot of FPS games. So my brother is usually someone I ask, and outside of my brother, like I'm like in a Discord group with a lot of other people that like-minded trophy hunters. I would say it's like also they want to go for like those more like ultra rare trophies and stuff. And there's like some people out there that also like are more like into FPS game, and those are usually the persons that I ask. So, and like two of them are like Dutch, and we talk a lot to each other. So yeah, it really works out. So
It must be helpful, sir, to have some of the highest skill gamers in the world as your friends.
I mean, I don't know if it's high skill gamers, but
Oh, it can't hurt.
but decent, I would say. But I'm not sure if I want to classify myself as the highest skill. That's quite a title, I would say. But you know,
Well, I think you're potentially up there. So, what else shall we talk about here? I mean, there's some fantastic titles.
let me see what I've been playing recently more. Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Like that's like a whole different genre. It's like a fighting game. It's it was actually quite funny because
Mm.
I was just checking PlayStation Network profiles, and I saw this thread that there was like like a glitch or exploit to get like one of the most time consuming trophies, which is like you have to grind like a ridiculous amount of money in the game. It's called Zenny, and you have to grind like 20 million Zenny, which is like,
Yes.
if you would do it legit, it would take you around 50 hours or something like that. And then with this exploit, because they were, for the first time, I think it was like one of the first times, they were giving away money, like 5 million, which is like 25% of the actual trophy. But there was like a certain exploit where you can just go offline and then online, and then you could infinitely claim the reward for 5 million. So instead of just having to grind that trophy for 50 hours, you could just do it with the exploit in like 5 minutes. That was absolutely crazy, and that was like one of the reasons why I was like, okay, I have to get this game, and just. But yeah, that's what I've been playing recently as well. That's like
Mm.
another fighter, and that. Although I really enjoy Dragon Ball Z, so I don't watch the anime. I actually don't. I don't watch any anime at all. But Dragon Ball Z is definitely a really badass, genre, badass franchise.
Yeah.
So that's a fighter game.
I'm glad that you mentioned that 5 million. Well, I was going to say it's not an exploit because they offered it for free until the end of May it was or something. So listeners, you've missed out.
Yeah, it was like for a week, or from the 21st to 28th May, I believe.
Yes.
But there was like, I think this exploit also works with like daily rewards or something, because I've seen other people mention it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's if you wanna get the platinum trophy, I mean, you should definitely search some information about it, because I feel like that exploit works as well with the daily reward. It's just going to take a little bit longer, but it's definitely better than just doing it, legit for grinding for 50 hours straight.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, not straight, but yeah.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Well, it was just lovely that you mentioned it because in typical Sony PlayStation style, they trolled all gamers by offering that game as the deal of the week after for like 80% off after the 5 million had expired. So so you did miss
Oh
your
really?
chance if you
Oh
waited. Yes, yeah,
yeah.
and of
I
course.
mean, yeah.
Yeah. The other reason I'll just briefly, sorry, I'm stealing the show, but I'll briefly mention it too, is that we have a wonderful listener that sometimes makes it this far into the episode, Mr. Boston 10 George, who would be grinding his teeth in disgust that this 5 million was offered, because I know he did this legit or whatever. So, sir, sometimes you just miss
No,
out, don't you?
I'm sorry to hear that. That's really pain. Yeah,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, could we talk a little Strange Brigade as well?
Oh, sure, no problem. So Strange Brigade is like, it's like another shooter, but it's like more like, with treasures and mummies, and more like the awesome old school kind of thing. But it's like more centered around co-op. And I did this with a friend as well. I feel like especially these games like Strange Brigade, or just like Uncharted, definitely Uncharted. Like, just like those co-op games are just like third person shooter is also something I really enjoy doing, and Strange Brigade was no exception to that. It's like a co-op game, and like with a decent story, and just all around just a great experience for me. Like especially with shooters, and yeah, just this was very fun to play. It was a bit short, but It's like, have you played it? I'm not sure if you've played that one.
Well, I mean, it depends what you define as playing. I've definitely had a go at it. Yeah. So,
You had
so
like 1 minute or
no,
oh,
like at least. What if they told you I play at least the first 5 minutes, sir? That 1 minute rumor is not true. I play at least 5 minutes of most games. But anyway, what I wanted to
at
ask,
least. But okay.
at least.
I
Look, no, I
mean,
did
I
play.
mean, let's be honest. Yeah, after 5 minutes, you already have the platinum in some of those games. But
I know it's
I
impressive.
mean, let's
Look,
be
you
honest.
must. You must realize that you can get 1,000 platinums in a day these days. If you're playing the right games. I mean,
I
it's
know,
just.
I know, I know. I feel like I don't know, man. I feel like the whole trophy count has kind of lost its value to me in that sense because now like let's go back to like 10 years ago or something. It's like 2008, 2009, 2010. Back then, like when you obtain a platinum trophy, it was like, wow, you really like put a lot of time and effort into it. And I could give you a few examples, Uncharted, or just Infamous, or those were like games that took like literally 20 or 30 hours just to get the platinum trophy, and that was like a great accomplishment back then, And even when you had like 100 platinum trophies back then, it was like a big deal. And now it's like you can actually go buy all these stacks and you can just, do 100 plats in a day or something. It's crazy, man.
Mm,
So that's
mm.
kind of, I mean, that's my perspective. I hope it doesn't offend you, by the way. So, or any of your viewers. So,
Not at all. I knew we'd get to this topic at some point. So why don't we just spend a little
okay.
time here? Because it's really interesting now to hear you say that because, we've had a Coom on before. Now, he plays all these short games, but even he keeps, going on about how the trophy system is broken. Not sure if you're familiar with
Right.
Macca91, who makes the Xbox guides. He's been on before and
Yeah.
he's said that, the same thing that he's not making as many of these short Xbox guides anymore for these really short games because he doesn't necessarily want to promote developers that aren't even making completed games anymore, and so there's this general trend in the community. So do you believe as well that the trophy system is broken, for want of a better word?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like the whole system is. I'm not sure if this is the proper word, but if the whole system is easily exploitable in that sense, because like if people didn't really buy these games, then obviously they wouldn't come. So if people just stopped buying all those stacks, those easy stacks, those 5 minutes plats, then I mean that would just solve a lot. But in the end of the day, I can also understand the perspective, of Hakum or just any other trophy hunter that's like really high up. If you want to
Mm,
maintain your leaderboard status or rank, then you obviously have to play all of those yeah, all of those games, all of those easy stacks, and those developers they also know that as well. So they just gonna make more and more. But I don't know. It's just it's definitely easy exploitable in that sense, and yeah.
do you feel, and I don't want to get you in hot water here, but do you feel when you see a profile like perhaps mine, do you just feel a little bit dirty, a little bit
Mm,
disgusted?
I don't want to judge. I don't want to judge, man, because I mean, who am I to say what you're going to do with all of your time and your money? And this. I mean, whatever floats your boat. I feel like the most important thing is as long as you're having fun. That's the most important thing. So if you wanna
Yes.
go, if you feel like get satisfaction from that, then go ahead. But yeah, it's definitely not my style or something because I've been playing those. There's kind of similar to those games. Can I call them shovelware? The official term is
Of
like that, but
course.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's like a negative word. But I don't know when I played like this game, it just like 5 minutes and that's it, and I'm like, okay, wow, is this it, or like it didn't give me like any satisfaction of and just I don't know, I just want to have fun. I feel like having fun is the most important aspect of gaming. I'd rather just play some, well, I get more enjoyment out of it, and those games are definitely not up there, and most of them. Then I mean, there might be some of them, but
Yeah. No, look, I understand that. You're still young as well. I mean, when you get to my age, sir, if you get 2 minutes of enjoyment, that's an achievement. So look, I understand now. It's very well handled too. I wasn't trying to trap you there. It's very
Oh,
interesting
no, no.
for me to hear. What I
Yeah,
want to do though is just hark back to this strange brigade just quickly if we could, because one of the
sure.
most difficult trophies well, perhaps you might even say, well, it's definitely the hardest trophy, maybe one of the only really tough trophies in the game, is to complete the game on extreme difficulty. I know there are a few listeners that are currently working on this. Do you have any tips, or is this not that bad, or what would you say about this playthrough?
Um, like I wouldn't say for me personally it was that bad because we've talked about this before. I'm not sure if in this podcast, but I've played a lot of
Mm.
shooter games, so for me it's like it really gets natural for me, and just I would say I'm pretty decent at it. But other than that, I had like a great co-op partner as well, so another co-op partner, and yeah, together it felt we went through it pretty quickly. So I feel like there was one particular chapter in the game, like chapter 7, like the last boss fight was a bit awkward at the beginning, but there's like one item in the game. It's like an amulet, and with that amulet you can spawn ally zombies or like skeletons, and they will help you and they will distract you. So we like already early in that boss fight, in that one difficult boss fight, I already figured out a strategy like to get past through it easily, and it just I don't know, it didn't feel real that difficult, to be honest. But maybe it's because we had quite a lot of
Mm.
the experience with FPS games and third person shooters, so that could be. But yeah, if you're a listener and you're struggling with that part on Strange Brigade, just use one of those amulets that let you spawn in skeletons, and it's great for distraction, and then yeah, you can easily kill off some zombies, or yeah, skeletons.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm going to ask a selfish question here because I like a racing game, so I do, and I've noticed here that you've played it on Rush. I'm not sure if you play many racing games or if you're a fan of the genre or not, but
Mm,
okay, perhaps not.
quite a bit.
What do you think of On Rush?
Onrush, I didn't really like it honestly because like it's not your usual racing game. Like usually you have like you want to get first place or you want to go as fast as possible. But on Onrush, it's more like there's no really a finish line. It's more like taking out opponents, and then
Hmm.
it's more like you have to get a certain amount of eliminations in order to win the fight, to win the match. But it's not like so if let's say for example I'm like leading, like I'm first place of all the races, yes, not really first place, but like in front of the crowd, let's say that, yeah. So I have to like decrease my gas and just get back, and just take it a little bit slower, and in order to get more elimination. I don't know, it was a bit different than the usual racing style of game, and also then it felt a bit, I don't know, felt a bit weird
Yes.
in the sense of, I don't know, it felt a bit clumsy or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just not really your perfect or yeah, racing game.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Good.
bit man. It's not bad, but it's not good. It's decent.
Yeah. Now,
That kind of yeah.
the other two that sorry, I'm taking over a bit, but I warned you that this would probably happen before we started. I tend to talk a lot. Uh, two games that I want to ask you about here before we move to sort of
That's no issue, man.
the main part is the reason I want to ask about these two is they didn't get a lot of love, I think, for the wider community. They're probably not very aware of these games. The first one being the Darwin Project.
Oh yeah. What about it? It's like, oh yeah, okay. Um,
Well, well, to be honest with it, what is it, and what
well,
did
I
you
think
think? Because I've seen this was a free to play game, wasn't it?
yes,
I
that's
believe.
correct. So the Darwin Project is like a battle royale game, and I like I said before, I really like shooting games, and battle royale games actually also a genre in particular I like to play, like let's say Fortnite or yeah, PUBG or Apex Legends, or all this battle royale. I think the concept is really neat, and Darwin Project is also a battle royale game. So it's pretty much you're like in a map with 10 people, and it's like a really simplified battle royale game. You have like some arrows and an axe, and you just gotta take out the other opponents, and
Mm,
that's pretty much it, kind of. It's a really
okay.
simple battle royale game. It's pretty fun to play.
Okay, so it's worthy of time.
Oh, definitely. But there's one issue though, because I've read somewhere that they are gonna close the server. So if you're listening and you think, oh, I want to do Darwin project, then make sure you'll be fast enough, because I think like at the end of the year they are gonna close off the servers, because apparently the game wasn't really bringing in that much money, so they decided to close it. So.
Yeah, it didn't last very long then, did it? That's a shame.
No, no, it's pretty new game actually. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pretty but yeah, bummer. But
Okay.
yeah.
Now, the other one I want to ask is we do have some horror fans here. I saw this game. I don't think this is a battle royale game, but you could correct me if I'm wrong, with horror elements. It's the Hunt the Showdown game, the recent release from February, this game.
Right. Yeah, don't Showdown. I wouldn't really classify it as horror.
Oh, okay.
It's. I mean, I feel like I don't know. It's yeah. There are some. I mean, like. The, okay, I'll just try to explain the concept real quick. So let's say that's like an old school Western shooter, and basically you have to yeah, it's kind of a battle royale game. It's like it has like each map has like 10 or other players or something, 10 players total,
Mm-hmm.
and there's also like zombies yeah in the map and just other kind of hellhounds or whatever, and basically what you have to do is you have to search for some clues around the map, and those clues ultimately they lead you towards a boss, a kind of a boss. And there's like three sorts of different bosses, like a spider or like a big swine or like some other, I don't know, some weird creature. So yeah, that's what you gotta do, and then you gotta kill the boss, and then they drop a bounty, it's called, and you have to escape with that bounty. But the other players, they can see where the boss is as well, and just they can actually wait for you to kill you the boss, and then they wait at the end and they want to steal your bounty, or they kill you before it while you're fighting the boss. So yeah, it's kind of a battle royale game, and with with bosses in it as well. But I wouldn't really classify it as horror because I don't know, it's because it's like I don't know how do you because like at horror it's usually those tense moments. You don't really know what to expect.
Yes.
And with this game, it's like one time you've done it, you already know. You go in there, you know what to expect. You know what the boss looks like. There's not really a scary moment, and so I wouldn't really it doesn't really have that feeling of the unknown and just the whole scary part. And the game itself, it doesn't really like a creepy environment or something. It's just like a Western shooter kind of thing. So I wouldn't really classify it as horror.
That makes sense. Now, I know a lot of the games we've talked about have co-op so far today. Going through your list, a lot of the games you play do. Do you, I mean, I know you play a lot of single-player games as well. Is
Yes,
this something that you prefer, co-op style games, online as well?
co-op or single player? Or I mean, which one would prefer?
Yeah, what do you prefer?
That's a good question. I like both. I'm also like a huge fan of single player games.
Mm.
Like games like Telltale of The Walking Dead and or Until Dawn, or like those games, man. I really enjoy that, like, especially with like multiple endings, and and you have to save certain characters or something. But there's also something about co-op games what I enjoy as well. Just getting into a game with friends and just having a good time. And just yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a bit of both. I don't think I really have a preference, to be honest. I don't know. Like I said, I like a lot of variety in my games, and sometimes I like just to have that single player experience, and other times I like to jump into a game with friends, and So I
Yeah.
find it really hard to make a decision about that one. So definitely both, I would say. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can
It's,
I
yeah.
can understand that. So what we might do, listeners, here is we'll just take a short break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to get into the meat of this. This is what you really want to hear about. These tougher games, what it's like, what sort of planning, what research goes in, and what it's all about. So stick with us. We'll be right back.
I mean, we were just sitting back, chopping it up, reminiscing about the good old days and all that. Tracking my roots, where I came from and where I'm going. But like I say, man, always said it. It's not about the destination. It's all about the journey. Ain't nothing changed but the weather. The dangling carrot that hang from the rear view. Your dreams in the past ain't nowhere near you. Backseat drivers got nothing but 2 cents. Shotgun riders too biased, they all liars. I should get an A for effort, I'm too tired. But I'm never giving up, that's why I'm kinda admired. Role model, like it or not, I gotta play it. Sugarcoat the rhyme sometimes, but still say it. Said I was quitting at 40 is just a fib. I'm still a kid that's wiping the food off of my bib. You ever wanted something so bad that you could taste it? Cried over every opportunity wasted. Good and bad news, which one you want first? Either way you pick, the bad still gon' hurt you the worst. I never got to bask in the fruits of the labor, and I never got the cash from that dude from the label. I'm just thinking back.
So welcome back, listeners. Let's jump in now to some of these ultra rare trophies and ultra rare games. Before we do, Floriiss, I'd like to ask you, because one of the things I've learned from, players that are completionists are that some of them are very nervous about putting some tougher games on their profile if they don't think they'll be able to finish it, whether that be because it might be a glitch trophy or a server, or whether the game might just even be too hard. So what I wanted to ask you as we get into this topic are there games that you would start on a second profile to check out? Does that even worry you? Or do you just start it and you're just going to figure it out and you'll be able to do it?
That is a great question, man. Like, I don't know. I there are definitely, it's not like I fear something like I can't do it, because I feel like as long as you have like the dedication and you put a lot of hard work and hard work and dedication, if you just believe in yourself, I feel like anything is possible. So it's not like I would be too scared of something being too difficult. That being said, I do have an alt account, and those are just primarily use that account for just testing stuff, maybe some other games. And like recently I actually tried DJ Max, and DJ Max is like DJ Max Respect. It's one of the hardest games to 100% on PlayStation. It takes like several thousand hours to get on that level, So even like that game, I know just from my heart, if I'm not scared to put it on my profile, because I know that if I'm going to put in all the time and effort, and I definitely believe in myself, I know that I can do this. It's like, even if it takes me 10,000 hours, I know that I can do this. But here's the thing, I just, it's not like I'm too scared of it, but I played on alt account because I wanted to see, would I be enjoying this for for that amount of hours? I would just kind of want to see what it looks like, and then from there on, I just kind of made the decision if I wanted to do that game or not. Like for another example would be Crypt of the NecroDancer. Crypt of the NecroDancer, I saw how difficult it was because I've done some research, but I wasn't afraid of it, so I just put it on my profile. I knew that I had this mindset. I'm just gonna put it in a lot of hours and we'll see where it goes. I mean, even then, if you put a lot of time and effort in it and you still cannot manage it, then there's nothing wrong with that. Just at least you're trying. But I don't know. I kind of have this mindset of just, I can do anything as long as I put my my all into it. That's literally what I live by. It's like impossible is nothing. That's also the quote, the boy. Yeah. So
Yes.
it's really that mindset, really. So
yeah. I like that. So to pick up on the research side and the prep side for these games, do you actively, seek out games that are a low percentage? Because, I mean, looking down your profile, there's not much above 4% rarity, to be honest. I mean, that would be high for you. So are you
4%.
actively looking... That's what I mean. Well, look, let's be honest, most of them are under 1%. But do you pick a game? I know this is a funny question, but do you sort of pick a game because of its rarity?
Most in the recent years, I've done that. Yeah, a lot of times. So yeah, usually I do. Or like obviously I'm looking at a lot of games and I see like a low rarity, and then I see like, okay, what's this about, and then I'll do some more research, and then I'll see if it's difficult. And usually when it's difficult, I want to do it because I don't know, and that's also the reason why I love to do these difficult games. It's like I get a sense of accomplishment from it, a lot of, and that's what I really enjoy of it. But if it's like a low rarity, doesn't have to mean that it's being difficult. It can also mean that it's like really obscure game, or it requires a lot of grinding. Another example would be I think it's a game called Fortnite. it's a real-time strategy kind of thing with tanks and stuff. It's like also like a game, a platinum with like
Mhm.
0.5%, which is also a fairly low platinum rarity. But I don't know. I seen the gameplay and it just I didn't get to me. You know, it didn't look fun. So that's why I skip it. I don't know. It's yes, I do look at the rarities a lot. You know, to see the rarity. But I also look. One other thing, what's important for me is that I have a lot of fun. That's really important. And usually my fun comes from completing challenging games and getting to the grind, and
Mm.
that's what I really enjoy the most. So that I would say yes, I look at the rarities, but there's also more aspects of it. It's definitely an enjoyment factor, and yeah, it's not like I do every low person game. I just all rarity. No, I want to have fun as well. That's really important.
Look, I totally agree. It's the same as me. It's not like I do every 100% completion easy game. I'm trying to, but it's not like I've done them all. Yeah, there's still a couple out there. So you mentioned.
I mean, that's you and me are quite similar because I pick a lot of games that have like low rarity, and you pick a lot of games that have high rarity. I mean, what's the difference really? So
that that word in English
it's
is
the same.
dissimilar. Oh, I
Sure.
like that. I like that. So you've opened the door on the grind here, which we're going to get into. But to lead us into this, can I ask, again, just off the top of your head, what is the game you've probably put the most time into to get the plat, and roughly how much time would that be?
That's only one game, man. That is Crypt of the NecroDancer, and I've put around somewhere between 800 and 900 hours into that. Unfortunately, the game doesn't have like a where you can see your time, how many hours you've spent. That's just a rough estimate. But even after
Mm.
obtaining the play, I've definitely played over 1,000 hours. But it's just crazy how much time and effort that takes to get on that level and to obtain that platinum trophy, because those requirements are like they're actually crazy, man. It just takes a lot of time and effort to get through that.
Well, we're going to get into that, but so I've got to ask. I mean, that's a lot of time. I mean, you could have invested that time better in maybe Final Fantasy 14. You would have had a very, very enjoyable experience at 1,000 hours, but you've chosen to put it here, which is fine.
I mean, already got the Final Fantasy 14 plot as well. So, but yeah,
Well, now hang on a
yes, I do.
second, sir. Do you got the plat, but then did you ever do any of the expansions?
No, I didn't because they didn't include any
Ah,
trophies. And you know what they say, right?
this is
No
tragic.
trophy, no deal. That's the motto. And
Oh,
I'm just
ouch,
kidding, man. I'm just kidding.
ouch,
Yeah.
ouch. That's right. I don't want the rest of your game. You can fuck that off. I just want the platinum and I'm done. I know. I hear this. It's a travesty, sir. Travesty. Hopefully one day. You know what? I always hope sneakily, because with the Shadowbringers expansion that came out last year, I was like, how awesome would it be if they put one bronze trophy in the final dungeon? That
Oh
would just
wow.
fuck over everybody that had the
Gosh,
plat.
yeah,
Would be
yeah.
fantastic, but
I mean,
they
yeah.
never did. So it's a shame.
I mean, honestly, I don't mind because I like the game, but it had like I mean, the game looked really appealing to me, like the worlds, but it had
Mm.
like with every MMO, it had just so many side quests and so many stuff to do. It was like
Yeah.
when I came into the game, I definitely lost it. I was like, bro, I just get so overwhelmed. There's like so much stuff to do. I just like even when I got the platinum trophy, I don't think I don't know about like 90 or 95% about the game or everything what's there to discover. But it's so big, man. It's just so you have to put a lot of time and effort into discovering everything.
So let's move to the grind section. So you're obviously not afraid of it. You obviously embrace it. You like it. What is it about the loop of doing the same thing, of slowly getting better or whatever else? What is it that you like about it?
I mean, first of all, there's like two types of grinds for me actually. There's like one of this what you said is like grinding to get better, just improving your craft, improving your skills. That's something I really enjoy because
Mm.
that's o- just seeing yourself getting better at, and then even like seeing yourself stuff that at first you didn't really think that was possible of yourself doing. It's like exceeding all of your expectations. And I don't know. I like to see my progress and getting better at the game. especially when you're actually being able to achieve something, and then you're like, whoa, I just did that. It took a lot of time and effort, but wow, I did it. That's what I really enjoy the most, and that's the grinding I really prefer. There's also another type of grind, and I would say like, let's just take Fortnite for example. That is grinding, just doing repeating everything over again, every mission, and that's something I really don't really like. It's like it comes really boring and repetitive to me, and that's definitely a grind I wouldn't really prefer to do. So there's two types of grinds, if that makes sense, and like getting better with my craft is definitely, yeah, I like, that's what I enjoy the most.
Yeah, I totally understand that. It's sort of like, I mean, I'm looking through your list, and you don't succumb to the AAA fanboyism of Ubisoft games by the look, the Assassin's Creeds and things like that, which which are just bloated grinds in that you're just collecting collectibles and random shit around the map that really doesn't do a lot for anything. It's just time filler, if you like. So I totally understand what you mean there about the different
Yeah,
types of waste of time grinds, almost. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like those, all those grinds that really question your sanity. It's like doing like stuff over like, I don't know, multiplayer boosting on a dead game like 50 hours. It's just like on those moments I'm like thinking, man, right now I can do like a story game or something where I like fully into it, enjoying myself, discovering the world. But no, I'm boosting a dead PlayStation 3 game because just for some trophy or something. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes the whole grind is taking its toll,
Mm.
and that's why really think like enjoyment is the most important factor, and that's why I've also been really trying to, especially after Fortnite grinding, I've been really trying to avoid that. I want to put more emphasis on having fun and less emphasis on just doing grinding stuff over and again just for some trophies or something. I think that's more important.
I have to ask then, what is, because one great thing about the grind is that sometimes you can get very inventive, with the controller, or you might find a way to AFK it, or I once heard this story here, Floriiss, about the Crew, the original Crew game. Now it required you to drive 5,000 miles off road, and I once spoke to a gamer that told me that he rubber banded his controller, which is that's nothing. Everybody's done that, but the way the game seemed to work
Hmm.
is it could tell if your controller was moving somehow as well. I didn't know this. So
Oh,
you couldn't just leave it rubber banded for ages. So what he did, it's ingenious, Floriiss. He's ingenious. He looped the controller over a fan, and he put the fan on slow. So the fan was cycling around the room on slow, rubber banded, and he got his 5,000 miles that way. So
what? Okay.
I know it's insane, isn't it? But
Yeah.
it's wonderful, and we've heard the stories of people playing singing games with microphones next to fans and
Oh
fan noise.
yes, yes, yes.
Have you discovered any, wonderful grinding technique for a game? What is the most ridiculous thing you've done, I suppose, for the grind?
You mean like in terms or do you mean like the most ridiculous exploit, like something similar to that fan?
Yes, yeah, exploit.
Nothing really. I don't know. Nothing really crazy. I have a turbo controller, which is like a really useful controller. Like for example, like I was like there was also a recent game. It was like a fighting game, Ultimate Marvel versus Capcom 3, and there
Mm.
was like one particular trophy where you had to play the online on 30 hours in online mode. So that's I just used the turbo controller, and I asked a friend if he could help me, and then he used the turbo controller as well. So you just have to get into the lobby with each other, and just turbo one button. It's usually the X button, and then it instantly restarts. So that's how you get like the online stuff done. Like you don't have to actively play it, but you can just use a turbo controller. So other than that, I don't think really I have like something crazy. I did rubber band as well, but that was like on a game called Mafia 2. I'm not sure if you played that one.
Oh yes, yep.
Okay, and one of the DLC trophies, there was like one of the DLC trophies where you had to, I think, drive X amount of miles, maybe two. I don't really know the requirements, like 2,000 miles,
Mm.
something crazy, like something you don't usually do in like normal gameplay. It was like this exploit where you drive to a building and you fall down the map or something. I think that was like also rubber banding. It's just a gas button, it just you would fall infinitely through the map or something, and then. But other than that, I don't think that's like something crazy I've done for exploits or for crime. Not really sure. No, I don't think so.
Look, we've tiptoed it around this long enough. It's time that we brought this game up. You are the guide writer. So, we'll get into that as well. Of course, we're referring to the Crypt of the NecroDancer. You've rated it here a 10 out of 10, 900 hours, 50 playthroughs, although I assume that's if it was done perfectly, 50 playthroughs. My question to you is, why would you do this to yourself?
Oh man, because I love it. No pain, no gain, man. Nah, I don't know. I just okay. That's so why. I mean, I think I can actually elaborate more a bit about giving you a short story about it. Maybe that was also interesting for the listeners. But actually, funnily enough, and maybe you don't believe it. Yeah, people probably ain't gonna believe it, but I've actually not really been into difficult games at all. So, like I've mentioned before in the beginning of this podcast, I've played a lot of like Pokemon and Super Smash, and also there's really those games that makes you feel good and just just having a good time. And even on the PlayStation 3, I didn't really play like a lot of difficult games. Yeah, maybe some. I mean, there's some games I've done that are considered difficult, like Wipeout HD, for example, or Mortal Kombat or Mirror's Edge. There's some kind of games that are considered difficult. But other than that, nothing really crazily difficult. So, and I remember this so clearly, so vivid. Like when the PlayStation 4 came out, and like I said, I've been a completionist since like 7 years ago, and then like PlayStation 4 came out, and I was a completionist then as well. Still are. And I remember this game coming on PlayStation Plus, and it was called Super Meat Boy, and I'm pretty sure you know what Super Meat Boy is.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some gameplay, and I was like, okay, this game looks pretty fun to me. Okay, you know what? I'm actually going in blind. I haven't looked at the trophies. I'm just going in blind. And let me tell you, if you're a completionist and you're jumping into a game like Super Meat Boy with no expectations, you might have to worry a bit. So at that point, like I said, I didn't really have that many difficult games at that point, and I was just playing Super Meat Boy fine. It was like a great game for me. Like really enjoyed it. Completed the story. Near the end was pretty difficult. And then I remember this, very clearly. I was like doing the cleanup, and suddenly I saw these no death trophies, and I was like, whoa. That was like actually the first time I think I got a little bit intimidated. I was like, whoa, do I really have to do this for the platinum trophy? That's crazy. So that was actually my first really difficult kind of game. But even then, I remember like you know what, I'm just gonna give him my all. Let's see, you try. If it doesn't work, it's fine. But I really liked the game, so I put a lot of hours into it, getting better and better and better. Up until the point that I actually got all of the trophies and obtained a platinum trophy. And I remember so clearly. It's like at that point there was this kind of accomplishment of that I haven't really felt actually before. But all these other games, like, wow, it took me a lot of time, and a lot of effort, but I've done this. Like like goosebumps, and just like, wow, that's crazy. And that's actually also the reason why I do it to myself, all these difficult games, because at that point when I completed Super Meat Boy, there was like it switched my identity, for trophy hunting. Because at that point I feel like I was hungry for more. I wanted to chase that feeling of wow. It's just the kind of sense of accomplishment that I hadn't really felt in other games. And that's where I decided, I just want to get more difficult games and try, more different stuff. I kind of want to, have that same feeling of wow, put a lot of time and effort into it, but then that sense of accomplishment, it's just crazy. That's what I was looking for, and that's to this day still the reason why I play a lot of these difficult games, because I feel so much more satisfaction for completing these games than, let's say, a 5 minute what do you call it, Retallica or so? Retallica.
Ratalaika, yes,
It's quite a
yes. You've definitely made that point. Yeah.
but yeah, it's like I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, well, look, I'm gonna hold you up here for a second because this Crypt of the NecroDancer, it has 6 platinum achievers out of a 19,900 game owners. Well, that's the trophy whores that are actually registered. There'd be a lot more than that, so and a lot less platinum achievers with the full numbers in. So that brings it to a 0.03% plat. So that's sort of impressive, I suppose. Now, my question to you is, it took you 3 years and 4 months, but I see our friend up the top here did it in 10 months, 1 week. So why did it take you so long?
Okay, first of all, the DLC came a lot later. So even if I had like the obtain the platinum trophy, it's like the completion time is like a lot later because the DLC came also a lot later. But that was not really that's one reason actually. But the other reason was like I've actually explained this as well in my on PlayStation Network profiles somewhere on a post of Crypt. But actually, when I was going for that game, there's like one particular character in the game which is called Coda, and the requirements for that character are insane. You die literally by anything, by missing a beat. Yeah, I can go really in depth with it, but for now I just try to get a little bit. Don't get too in depth, otherwise I'll explain a lot. But basically, in order to complete that character, I knew that I had to put a lot of effort and time into that. And at that point, I generally I played for 2 months straight, like 5 or 6 hours a day, maybe some more days more, some days less. But I didn't have variation with other games, and all this that type of grinding, the grinding to get really good at that level. I felt like it started to really take a toll on me, and it's like it was really stressing me out. I just constantly playing the game all over every day, same day, and just no variation with other games. And at that point, when I finally got it, I was like super relieved, and I think it took me like 300 hours or something. It was like crazy in those 2 months. But once I got it, I don't know. I felt like so burned out or something. I don't really like to use that term burnout. I feel if it's a real term, but kind of like that. But I don't know. At that point, I've been playing so much Crypt of the NecroDancer. Like I made that comment as well on PlayStation Network. Like literally, when I sleep, I still see the game in front of me. It was like it was not healthy anymore. So I knew I had to get away from it and that at that point I took a 1 year break. I didn't play the game for an entire year, and even it was crazy because when I switched over from Crypt of the NecroDancer, to another game, I think it was like I'm not sure if you know the game Tabletop Racing, like a racing game like on PlayStation Plus. It was free at one point, but even getting that platinum tour, it was I don't know, it was just it just felt oh wow, finally something else. Yeah, even I was happy with that. It's just like I needed a breather, and that's why I decided just to take 1 year break, and then I definitely still have the motivation to keep going. To get back to it, but sometimes you just need a break, and yeah, that's what I needed as well. There's nothing wrong with just taking a break and getting back to it later.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no, I agree. So for listeners that aren't aware of this game, I'm sure by now you pulled up some footage of it, but it is described as a roguelike rhythm video game. So it's everything that I love to hate, all in one package here, by the Canadian independent game studio Brace Yourself Games. Now, I think they've also done, I don't know if it's a follow-up, I think they did the Cadence of Hyrule, these people. I'm not sure on that. I should have looked into that on the Switch recently. But anyway, we're talking this game. Now, I want to do a little bit of a deeper dive on it if we could here. Some of the trophies in this game are fantastic, Floriiss. We've got Polyamorous here, complete all 9 characters in one go without dying. Impossible Right, complete all zones with solo Coda. Now, you said you didn't want to get into it, but Coda, listeners, it's just not one character. It's a combination of 3 characters. I believe that's correct. Arya, Bolt, and Monk.
Yes, that's correct. Okay, so Coda is like you said, like 3 characters into one. So Arya is a character that if you like the game, it works like you move on a beat. Just there's like a timeline, like a beats coming together, and you move on the beat. But a character like Arya, if you even miss one beat, you just don't move, you die. If you lose your multiplier, and multiplier means like getting hit or something, or hitting a wrong wall. It's just yeah, I can go pretty in depth. But it's like it might be difficult to understand, but it's like pretty much anything can kill you. If you don't move, you get killed. If enemy can kill you in one shot, everything. There's another character. It's called Bolt, and Bolt gives you double tempo, double speed. So what happens is you have to move perfectly on the beat, but the beat gets doubled, gets faster. So you have to hit twice as much, but you have still everything on beat. So even if you make one save, you're dead. And then they include another character, which is Monk. All of the enemies they drop gold. So and that character works if you step into gold, you die. So it's like all these negative effects, they all come into one character, and that makes it a true hellhole. It's actually crazy, man. It's like, I can give you an example. Like, when I was playing the game, I still live with my parents. So even when you definitely need a lot of concentration for it. I can't even talk when I'm playing that game. But even when, like, my mother, it just comes in and she wants to start talk to me, or conversation, I just can't respond. Another example would be, let's say I'm playing a game, but I sometimes I had to sneeze or something. I sneeze and I lose beat and I'm dead. It's literally that cool. It's literally like, it's almost like you blink and you die or something. It's a bit of an yeah, that's
Yeah,
but
okay,
yeah,
I get it now.
over exaggerating.
Mm, mm.
But there's a lot of stuff that can instantly kill you. And I mean, you can have the best run of your life, and then 1 second later you're dead because you slipped off of you didn't really make the input, or you pressed too fast or too slow. Literally anything can kill you, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's actually crazy.
Now, I know you. I noticed you've commented on this before, but it's something that I read this morning on the PSN profile. So I just want to pick up on this, and it'll put it into context, perhaps for some of our listeners that don't play or don't know this game too well. And it was a question for this game asked about whether you would use a keyboard over the controller, and you actually wrote here that the average person spends 2 months, approximately 300 hours of practicing Coda before they get their first clear.
That's correct.
So listeners, 300 hours before you even get through with one character. What a fucking joke. But anyway, that's what this game is. But you said this is by using a keyboard. With a controller, it could take you even more months, probably an additional 200 hours on top of that. So obviously you believe obviously a keyboard helps you in this game. Is that because of the precision, or what was the reasoning for using the keyboard?
Well, naturally, this game is being played on PC. Later it came to console, but it just using
Yeah.
a keyboard for this game feels a lot more natural than using the D-pad. And like when you have to make 6 inputs every second, like that's the fastest one in the game. 6 inputs every second. If you want to do that with a D-pad, 6 presses every second, and you can't even miss one, because if you miss one, you die. Or too slow, you die. Too fast, you die. It's going to be pretty difficult. So I don't know. Keyboard felt a lot more natural, and even with a keyboard, it's like you definitely shouldn't underestimate it, because like I said, there's even the best player in the world, Spooty Biscuit. He practiced for 2 months until he got his first clear, and that was with a keyboard. So yeah, I don't know. It feels a lot. It felt like a lot more natural, and that's why I decided I want to play with a keyboard. So I haven't. Yeah, I don't know. But the controller, it feels kind of awkward to me.
I can understand. One of the wonderful things about this game, Floriiss, is you can play this game with a dance pad as well. I read. Did you ever consider that? Do you think that would be OP strategy?
Oh my god! I mean, I've seen some footage about it. I mean, if you can complete Koda, the hardest character with a dance pad, I tip my hat to you, man. That's crazy. I don't. I want to see that, man. But yeah, no, I don't
Yeah.
think that's really good.
There'll be somebody out there trying it.
Oh, definitely. There's always some crazy guy out there that
Yeah.
you know.
I like that. So if that's not all enough, if that bullshit hasn't already overwhelmed you, listeners, the final trophy, and what I'm assuming is the plat breaker. Well, every trophy in this game is probably a plat breaker, but this one in particular, lowest of the low, which is a fantastic name. All characters, no pickups, no shrines. Finish the game all 9 times, only using the starting gear you have. So
Yeah.
that's just bullshit, isn't it?
That's definitely bullshit, especially with this game. There's also a lot of RNG involved. There's
Mm.
random stuff that can happen, and there's like 4 zones, like 4 different kind of areas, and like the third area, the third zone, it's like really RNG dependent, because it's like a roguelike. You get on a staircase, you proceed to the next floor. You get on a staircase, you proceed to the next floor. But sometimes when you get like on a staircase and you proceed to the next floor, it automatically spawns you besides a mini boss and like a lot of like 7 or 8 minions in like a really tight space. Which are some moments are just, you can't really predict that, and that's really RNG dependent. And in most cases, nearly all cases, you're just going to die, because that's just RNG. So
Mm.
that comes in play as well. And just, I don't know, the requirements are so insane. You have to do like everything with starting gear. So you need to do like like the run itself takes around 3 hours, and it's like 3 hours of full concentration, and you can't even make one mistake, because if you make one mistake, you're pretty much dead, because starting gear, a lot of enemies have the capability of just insta killing you. So I don't know, it just you have to be concentrated for 3 hours straight, and it's crazy. So yeah, that's
It
just
definitely
absolute BS. Yeah.
it definitely sounds like. Now, I've got to ask, you wrote the guide for this game. You've written a guide for this game. You've also written an ultimate boss guide as well. I imagine you get a lot of questions because, it's a massive game on how, strategy and how to approach it. How satisfying is it for you just to type back, get good?
Kid good. Oh yeah. No, I mean, that's it's usually when people look at the requirements for this guide, that's pretty much what it says. Get good, It just 900 hours, 10 of them 50 play, But nah, it's I don't know. It just feels good just to just to share my experience, because the game itself was also like at the start it was pretty obscure. Now it has like this really big title of it's the hardest game out there, hardest platinum trophy out there on PlayStation. So I don't know, it's just nice that I can do something back for the community, and just share what I've been through, and try to help others out, because at the start there wasn't really anything much to find, information. There was a wiki thing, but about boss strategies in particular, I've spent like I think like almost 40 to 50 hours just only practicing bosses, because there's like a lot of boss fights and a lot of variation on bosses. And I just wanted to get consistent on each boss, and just try out different things, and spend a lot of time in that training room to get on that level, to get really consistent. I don't know. It feels nice that I can share that in the boss guide, and then help other people out, because I've had some people contact me when they started the game, and they were like, "Whoa, where do I start?" It's like this boss, and it's like so many things that can happen. I don't know. It just feels like I can help the community out with that. It just
It's a lovely thing to do, because I mean, we were talking a little before we started, but often these games, the as other players that will attempt these games, or maybe even some people that have finished it. I'm not sure as well, although there's not many. So you can share tips and things, but for somebody on
Mhm.
the outside, it can be very difficult to find any information if a guide's not written, or if information's not put out in the general public. So
Yeah, definitely. But that's also the thing. Like I mentioned, Super Meat Boy before. Back when I did it, there was also not like a lot of information to be found. So I was like experimenting on my own stuff. But nowadays, even when I still think that Super Meat Boy is quite a difficult platinum trophy. I mean, like I said, it was my first really extreme difficult platinum trophy. But now, even now, to this day, there's like over 400 people, I think, that have obtained the platinum trophy for that game, which is insane to me. It's like, but it's also like there's guides nowadays, and there's also a whole community behind it, and just encouraging each other. And it's just nice to see that a lot of more people just try to attempt that,
mm,
and
mm,
I feel like with Crypt nowadays it's kind of the same. It's just at
mm.
first there's also like not a lot of information to be found about it, and not a lot of people attempting it. And nowadays you can, like, with my, yeah, I wouldn't say only with my guy, but other videos as well. And yeah, the whole community behind it is like you see more people attempting it. I think that's a good thing to see.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, let's switch gears a little and change games here. This is we're moving now, listeners, to the Badland. This is a side-scrolling. It sells itself as a side-scrolling action adventure physics-based gameplay. Now, I didn't know this game, but what is interesting is that this was an iOS game originally. It was a game of the year for Apple in 2013, then ported to console in 2015. It shares a list between the PS4, PS3, and Vita. So I have to ask, which system did you play it on?
On the PlayStation 4, I did. Should I tell a bit more about what the game is like, or how it
Please.
uh,
Yes.
came up to this?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So, long story short, like you said, it was like first on iOS, I think, or something, or PC. I'm not really sure about it. But when it came to PlayStation, it was actually there was something with one particular level, like one of the collectibles, like a power up. Usually, like from the original game, there was like a big gap, and you could fly through that gap. But when it came to PlayStation, this gap was a lot tighter. It was like a lot different, a lot smaller, and because of that, it was considered impossible. Like for the first 4 years, because people didn't know how you could get through the gap. So you couldn't obtain the collectible, and therefore you couldn't obtain the platinum trophy.
Oh.
So that was really interesting to me when I saw that, and it's like that's one thing I always think that a lot of people always think it's something is impossible. They say it way too early on because I feel like you can't just say it's impossible. I mean, let's just say you have to, you put in 1,000 hours or something. Maybe then you can say it impossible. But I mean, if you try like a few times, you can just say it's impossible. So I mean, that really sparked my curiosity, and I was like, okay, people say this is impossible. I mean, you know what? Actually, let's take it up to the test. Let's see what we can do here. And that's why I just invited some friends and we just try to get that power up, that one particular power up. And I feel like after 10 hours of practice, we came up with a strategy to actually obtain that particular power up. And from that moment on, it was just, the rest was history. We just obtained the platinum trophy. And from there, yeah, it was like, so it was considered for 4 years impossible. And then we came along and then we obtained the platinum trophy. And now I see the list and I see like more people do it. And it's amazing,
That is fantastic. So to put it in context, there are 64,000 plus game owners, only 13 plat holders, coming in at 0.02%. Floriiss is the first platinum holder for this game. But what intrigues me about the percentages here, the lowest trophy, the 0.02% trophy in this game, is an online co-op trophy for completing 300 missions in co-op. So why is that the lowest percentage?
Okay, so it's not online co-op, it's local co-op, but yeah, but
Oh, okay.
that's because that power up I mentioned, which was impossible to grab, that was actually the one in the co-op co-op mission. So people just
Oh,
never couldn't grab
okay.
it, and that's why it's also the lowest of them all. So yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. So what I wanted to do, see, one of the things that interests me with some of these trophies now, you can give me a little bit of a leeway here, but there are people, for instance, that like to boost their ultra rare count. It does their ego well, I'm told. Now they do it through sports games usually. Now I don't know how you feel about that. I notice you don't do that, but they play these games that hundreds of thousands of people buy, like your Maddens or baseball games, and then they proceed to play them. Now some of these games are not difficult and they're not long, but they're locked behind just bullshit things that normal people don't want to do, like an online specific thing or something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of these games, not the games that you're playing is through, but a lot of these games are ultra rare because of their online requirements often. What do you think about that?
About the whole idea of playing sports games to boost your rarity or ultra rare.
Okay, if you want to comment on that, by all means, please
Well,
do.
that's what you mean, right? Or is that
Yes, yeah,
okay?
yeah.
I mean, personally, I don't really. I mean, it's not like I don't like sport games, but for me, sport game like I said, I'm a completionist, so I want to complete all of my games, and especially in particular with sport games, there's like let's say FIFA or NBA. They tend to change the requirements very early on or just shut down very early on the game, so a lot of these trophies just they get unobtainable very soon. So that's why I don't really like to play those games, because in the end, I want to complete all of my games, and that's why I don't really play those games. But I mean, if you're into sport games or just want to boost your ultra rare count, then I mean, go for it, just that's why not, just but definitely it's something I don't really want to do. I don't want to take, that's too much risk for me. And also, like I said before, I want to enjoy myself as much, and I feel like on sport games it's not like I enjoy myself that much, so
I understand that. Now, of course, you do get to what you sort of said, where trophies become unattainable, because the servers go down or whatever other reason. But sometimes the games are broken from the get go. Like I know you haven't played this game, but the MXGP Pro it launched with a trophy that required you to get a high time on the leaderboard with a friend's leaderboard. The problem is that it was a worldwide leaderboard. It didn't recognize your friends; it recognized everybody, and so on day one, obviously that trophy is very, very easy. But as time goes on, that trophy becomes harder and harder to get because, the times are improving. Now, I understand, I don't know this game, this Lost Planet 2, but I know you've played it. You were saying there was a similar thing happening. I mean, the other reality of some of these, and I don't know if this is what happens in this Lost Planet game, and I'm not saying this happens in the MX game, although I know there are other games that it does happen in where people hack the boards as well, which make the times even more tougher to beat, maybe even impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So would you like to talk a little about that Lost Planet 2? Because I'm not sure how it worked, but there is a
Oh,
trophy
sure.
you were
Sure.
saying that became very difficult over time.
Yes, okay. So yeah, you pretty much described it perfectly. It's kind of similar in Lost Planet 2 because in Lost Planet 2 there's like one of the trophies requires you to get all of the. It's called Nom the God or something. It's like you have to fulfill X amount of requirements or something. And one of those requirements was actually to get a world record on one of the missions. There was like 50 missions or something, like special missions, basic and advanced. But yeah, there was kind of an issue with that game because there are some veteran players from Lost Planet 2 that pretty much, went on a leaderboard and tried to get as high scores as possible, just to prevent anyone from, obtaining that world record. So yeah, eventually it got hacked by a hacker. So right now it's unfortunately unobtainable. But I've been really lucky with the game. I really dodged a bullet with the game because, like I said, I'm not afraid of jumping into a game of it being too difficult because I really believe that as long as I put time and effort into it, I can do anything I want, even getting a world record in this game. But I didn't really did proper research before starting the game. So what did I do?
Yeah.
I booted the game up, and later I found out that the leaderboards had such high times by like all these pro players. So I was like, whoa, they really, you have to go to the very edge. And I was really fortunate enough. I still feel fortunate that I'm in such a great community of like all these like-minded ultra rare trophy hunters. Because there's one guy in particular, and shout out to him, Dennis95. He's a German trophy hunter. He actually had his world record like a long time before me, but he approached me and he shared his world record strategy with me, and because of that, I was like able to get the world record in a fairly short amount of time, like a few hours or something. And like I said, I really think I've dodged the bullet by that because if it wasn't for that, yeah, for Dennis, then I wouldn't have my world record. And like literally a few weeks later, then the leaderboards got hacked, and now it's impossible. So as a completionist, I was like, wow, I just that could have cost me my my completion or my 100% completion rate. So why now? Like I said, I dodged the bullet. I think I'm really fortunate for that, for having such friends. And yeah, I really should do proper research before diving into a game. Just instead of just thinking, yeah, or whatever, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then now I want to move maybe, as I'm conscious of taking your time here. You've been very generous, but one of the things in the games that I mix and the circles I mix is I don't mix with a lot of, look, I don't want to say high skilled gamers, because there is a lot of skill in the Ratalaika community. So, but I don't mix with a lot of ultra rare hunters.
Okay.
There's a bit of a buffer zone between us that I quite enjoy. But I believe you're a friend of this. I'm styling on Yabro, who sort of,
Yes.
made this happen today. I think he reached
Yeah,
out
yeah, yeah.
and put a feeler out, which was wonderful.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy, man. He's absolutely a savage. I met him on Fortnite
Mm,
actually. So the funny thing about Fortnite is you have to complete a lot of. It's called play with other missions. But the issue with the EU servers and the NA servers, like in those low levels, there's a lot of kids there. There's like you jump into a game, there's the kids with mics, and all they want to say is like, I want to trade, I want a weapon, I want you. They don't even focus on the mission, and the issue with that is that you have to do the mission together. It's not like you can start the mission by yourself. They have to accept it as well, but they don't want to. They just want to trade, and it just gets being kids. But that's why I decided I need to move, and someone gave me a tip. You can go to the Asian servers because that's people are more dedicated or something, or just more mature. Yes, mature, but yeah, mature.
Sure, yes.
That's when I switched to Asian servers, and that's where I met. I'm stalling on you, bro, and I don't know. He invited me to the party, and then we started talking. I just great guy. Yeah,
Yes, yeah, he's very high value.
yeah,
So
great guy.
I have a interesting, experience with Fortnite. I played it once. I built a bridge. I ran out of wood. I fell off and died. So that was the extent. It took about 5 minutes. It was fantastic. So I didn't go back, but I have this policy of just open friend, accepting on the PlayStation. Which, look, I do not advise you to do, listeners. It's not a good strategy, but why not? You meet some interesting people, I can assure you. And somehow I managed to get hooked into a Fortnite person. And since that has happened, it's exploded. And I would imagine that half my list now, because most of them don't have platinums, are all Fortnite players. And I continually get spammed out with requests, which is wonderful because I don't play the game and I don't have it downloaded. But that's about as much of the game as I know, Floriiss, from the invites. But the plat in this game is not the battle royale, is it? It's the base game.
That is correct. It's Save the World actually, but I played a lot of battle royale as well because, like I said, I love shooters and battle royale games, and I think I had like 1,000 hours in the battle royale actually, so a lot of hours. So I played it competitively as well in the battle royale. So yeah, I love it both. Yeah, but the platinum trophy is only tied to the single player, not single player, to the Save the World experience.
Yeah. So I'm just, like that's wonderful. I see it's another 1,000-hour platinum or something like this, which is, it's impressive in its own right. But maybe I could
Yes, so yeah.
I could ask you about the battle royale side, seeing you've spent a sizable amount of time in it as well, even though there are no trophies on that side, are they? Is that correct? None at all?
No, that's
Mm.
correct. Unfortunately, no, because I really would have enjoyed going for those trophies. But yeah, I know it's like one of those games. There's like a few games that really caught my interest at the start, and it's like Overwatch and Fortnite, and Fortnite as well. When I think at that point it was so enjoyable at the start, like with friends, and just I just I think I even took like a break from trophy hunting at that point from like 1 or 2 months or maybe a little bit longer because all I want to do is Fortnite. I really enjoyed it. A lot of people make fun of it, it's all for kids, but I really thought it was a great game. I played a lot of it, and yeah, even to a competitive point, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
What interests me about the battle royale now, I'm not sure how the chat works in this, whether it's open chat or what, but one of the things I love to do about Call of Duty is every now and then just drop in, play a bit of multiplayer, just to hear a few sexual advances to my mother and a few other things that players might be interested in doing. Is the aggression in this as well, or not so much? Because I know it does have a much younger audience.
In Fortnite, you mean
Yes,
the
in
aggression?
Fortnite. Yeah.
Okay. No, not really. In regular games, I wouldn't say so. But obviously, if you dive more into the competitive scene, there's obviously going to be Discord servers. If you join those, there's like all these people with these high egos. Oh, I'm the best, and there's obviously going to be toxic
Mm.
people out there. But like generally playing, no, that's not. No, it's not really. It's a lot better. Like I'm not sure. Have you played Dead by Daylight?
I have not, no.
Dead by Daylight is a completely different game, and that literally I had to turn my notifications off at that game because literally every game you get like hate messages and stuff, and just it was absolutely crazy. But on Fortnite, Fortnite was pretty relaxed. It's no really hate or anything, just like good people. So I'm really glad about that one.
Okay, perfect. Well, look, as we wrap out and we finish up today, I want to ask you here, Floriiss, could you give us a tip for your average gamer, that maybe doesn't potentially have 1,000 hours, but would love to get an ultra rare trophy or two, would love to have a bit of a challenge within reason and have a good fun experience? What would you recommend? What game?
It really depends, man, because every person is obviously different, and I can't really tell what everyone is into. And so I would say, first of all, look at yourself and what kind of games do you like to play. So if it's FPS games, then maybe something like Wolfenstein 2 would be a great challenge for you. Or if you're more like, I don't know, rhythm games, then Crypt of the NecroDancer or DJ Max or something. So I think it's like if you want to have like a challenge as well as an enjoyment. I feel like the first thing you need to do is just look at yourself and what do you, yeah, just some self reflection, take a look at yourself and just look what kind of games you really enjoy, and from there make your move to just see what kind of challenge you can take. And obviously, if you have like any difficulties choosing a game, I would say just do some research online. Just look at PlayStation Network profiles. I don't know, just there's also like a few videos of the top 10 hardest, trophies by other YouTubers. Although a lot of times I don't agree with them, like it's just like it's like a lot of games they leave out. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just do some research about it as well, and just see what the community thinks of games that are being difficult. So that's what I would suggest.
Well, look, I'd like to thank you for joining us today, Floriiss. I think what we've done is we've dispelled the rumor. Yes, these games are brutally difficult. Yes, the grind is real. Yes, they're massive. But look, listeners, ultra rare gamers are people too. They're nice people. Who would have thought? Friendly. They can have a laugh with you. So reach out to them. If you do have questions about games or whatever, they're lovely. They're lovely people. Now, look, I have to ask Floriiss: would you like to put out a way to contact yourself, or where could people find you or follow on your progress if you so wish?
Oh, sure, yeah, okay. If you have any questions about any difficult games or so, like any game in general, you can always send me a message on PlayStation Network profiles. Yeah, just my my username Floriiss, and then with double I double S. I mean, that might be a little bit difficult to spell, but maybe if you go to the like for example the Crypt of the NecroDancer Platinum Achievers, you see my name, and then you can proceed to my profile. So that's one way to contact me. Otherwise, it will be on PlayStation Network. Same, yeah, just my ID. And I actually have a YouTube channel where I post regularly, like once or twice a week, just my progress on trophy hunting and platinum trophies. Yeah, which is also my PlayStation name, just Floriiss. It's FLORIISS. It's like 2 times I and 2 times S. And yeah, that's about it. That's where you can find me.
Perfect. And all of that information will be available in the show notes, listeners, if you are looking. So once again, Floriiss, I'd like to thank you so much. I think from going through your profile today and speaking to you, I think we've barely touched the surface in your gaming. So I look forward to, in 6 months or so, when you've forgotten about this experience and the pain and torture that it was, to resending another invite, and you hopefully coming back and telling us more about the gamings and the games that you love.
Oh yeah, I'm down, definitely, man. It was nice having to talk to you, and indeed, I feel like we have just barely scratched the surface. There's like so many things I can talk more about it, just go in depth. But I feel like I don't know, I don't want to drag too much. I want to, yeah. It's like I can talk for hours if you want, but
It's a wonderful thing. We had a guest on recently who had actually prepared notes, which is wonderful because, a little behind the scenes. I do send out a running sheet, but as Floriiss knows, it's very last minute, more for the guest, I think, than for myself these days. And he'd done his research, he'd done his notes, and he said, I'm all ready to go today. And I was like, this is excellent. And we finished, quite a long recording. We finished, and he said, but I'm only halfway through the first page. And I said, well, there you go. You'll have to come back again. And, it's like that, isn't it? It's very easy. So once again, thanks, Floriiss. Have a wonderful week.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a blast, and it was nice talking to you. Thank you. Have a nice weekend as well, and see you later.
So there you go, listeners. What a rarity on this show to hear about ultra rare trophies. But look, it was wonderful to hear Floriiss speak on these games, including personal highlight of mine, a game I'm sure I will never touch, the Crypt of the NecroDancer. But it's very interesting to hear what's involved. If you do intend to embark on any of these games we talked about today, I wish you the best of luck. And look, if you're happy just to cheese or ultra rare with sports games and singing games with fans, I also wish you luck and an enjoyable time. So before we get to the Push2Plat Platinum Club, and I do apologize, it's been a couple of weeks, listeners, since we've got there, I just want to drop just a little bit of housekeeping. Probably as of time of listening to this recording, we will have awarded the Trophy of the Month for June and July. If you do hear it before the 25th, we'll be drawing the 25th, and you can drop your trophy, any trophy that you like, with a little short descriptor, if you like, into the Discord. But what I wanted to talk to you about briefly is that we have a new event starting up. It's been put together, formulated, if you like, by the wonderful Eigenspace, who's made such wonderful events already on PSN profiles. And look, it's quite exciting. I can assure you it has nothing to do with ultra rare trophies, and it will be achievable for everyone. It will involve playing 5 games over the remainder of the year using various methods and lists. So we'll have more information about that on the show. But what I suggest is jumping into the Discord on the show notes, because that'll have a lot more there in the next day or two. And it's my pleasure to announce that for prizes, we will be giving away some limited edition. That's right, listeners. These will not be for sale. Limited edition from Australia Push2Plat hoodies. And I've got at least a couple of them there. So it's worth coming in, having a look and seeing what you think. I think that'll start around mid-July and it'll carry through till early December. So you can check the Discord for that. So the only other piece of housekeeping is just about what is coming up with the content. There's quite a bit of content coming up in the next few weeks. So I thought I'd give you a warning. Towards the end of the next week, the main show will drop now. It'll be a little bit later than usual at time of listening. This show will be a deep dive, a spoiler cast, if you like, on The Last of Us 2. So if you are playing it at the moment, we won't be there. We won't be with you until the end of next week. So that gives you plenty of time. If you're not playing it, that could be one to miss out. In a few days' time after that, I will be dropping another episode. It'll be more of an interview style. It's quite an interesting interview with a Twitch streamer, but not your normal Twitch streamer that we're used to, I suppose, listeners. We've also got some wonderful episode coming up on retro games and retro gaming, as well as a look at, I believe we're going to look deep dive into the Tales of series, all those games as well. So if any of that interests you, then definitely stay tuned to us over the next month. On the Patreon content side, we do have the second part of the Plastic Instruments. I know I've been saying that, but that will be out before the end of the month, or on the cusp of the end of the month. Also for the Patreons, we do have the monthly wrap-up of spam games, normal games, and games that you should be aware of and watch out for. That'll be only available to the Patreons at the $10 and higher level. But look, that's enough spruiking of all the business side. Let's get into the Push2Plat Platinum shoutouts for this week. A reminder, if you do want to get a shout out, and why wouldn't you, listeners, for all your hard work, you can drop your platinum on the Push2Plat Platinum Club on the PS4, or just jump into the Discord and drop it in the thread there as well for your shout out. We'll start this week with Dino Raw. Platinum number 1078, Yesterday Origins. The man is still flying. It's fantastic to see. Ed the Shed is back, 2014. Platinum number 103 and 104. Crypto by Paugi, the NA and EU stack. Number 105, Goosebumps the Game. And number 106, Pity Pit EU. Looks all high quality spam there, sir. And I hope you enjoyed that, Crypto. I thought it was kind of cool, actually. I like that one myself. Broken Trojan is back with us. He's got a massive one here for plat number 13, God of War. Congratulations, sir. Father and son. That's a big game and a massive platinum. Well done. Cool Kid Joe. Well, we have to sneak the host of Level Cap in somewhere here, and we've done so with number 423, Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry. He was particularly smug. He was particularly proud of himself hitting this platinum on level 69 and at exactly 69% of the way through level 69. Congratulations, sir. He also informed me today, as of time of recording, that he hit his 6-year achievement streak on Xbox. So that, listeners, is an achievement every day for 6 years, which is just crazy, if you ask me. Absolutely crazy, but congratulations on that massive achievement, sir. Zuche, number 37, Lego The Incredibles, and he has 100% game for us too, Clicker Heroes, which I've never tried, sir, but I'm intrigued now. I may look up this after. James Hamblin is back, number 264, Song of Memories. This is a really wonderful VN, but it does have music rhythm game elements. I'm pretty sure, I've only played the beginning of this, but I'm pretty sure you only need to play one of the rhythm games and you can skip, but you can play them for fun, so it's a different sort of a VN, but congratulations, sir, on that one. And then number 265, Pity Pit, Wish That It Was Longer. Yeah, it probably took you all of 10 minutes for the plat there, sir. Congratulations. Teresa with Rainbows, Toilets, and Unicorn. Oops, I did it again, and I bet you liked it. The Asian Stack. Onyx is back with number 725, 50 Words by Paugi. Impressive that he's managed to get to 725 and not play all the stacks of that yet. So well done on that. quite quick spam title. It's wonderful. It warms my heart to see another player corrupted, and that is what has happened here with Gaz Davis 11. He brings us number 53, Super Destronaut DX, joining in the spam on this occasion. But of course, you know, like most spam hunters, he didn't shoot once, he shot multiple times. Number 54, Attack of the Toy Tanks, absolute dross. Which, you know, look, anyone, any spam hunter could have told you that. But it's wonderful that you're diving in head first and experiencing the catalog, Gaz. And I look forward to seeing more degradation of your trophy list over the coming months. It's wonderful, wonderful. Number 55, look, he does save some face, I suppose, with the Golf Club 2019. A massive game. I know he's also working on the other Golf Club one, which is even bigger. So well done there, sir. S Squarehead, Under Night in Birth EX Late brackets ST, Rebirth of a Platinum. Now, this is a fighting game with perhaps the craziest name of all. I'm not going to touch it too much. It's an anime-esque fighter. I know there's multiple versions now. I think only PS4, but it may also be a Vita version there too. I believe it's not a hugely difficult fighting game, but quite fun as well. So congratulations, sir. And I think there's a new one, or maybe a new stack. Who knows? That game seems to be everywhere. It's a fantastic name too. Renichi is back with number 153. He's not mucking around here, folks. Warhammer 40k Space Marines plus DLC 100%. That's a pretty big platinum, and I know the DLC in that game is no joke either. So congratulations. That is a fantastic effort. It's wonderful to see that Redbeard Rick is back to Serenade Us with number 159 SingStar PS4 EU and number 160 SingStar PS4 NA. It's wonderful timing too for Rick to drop this on us because, as we know, he has a wonderful voice, but also these are fantastic games for cheap, nasty, slutty, ultra rare boosts to your count. And look, I'm not saying that's what he's done here, listeners. Really. But, you know, it's a perfect episode to have that on because we did touch on it with Floriiss, that concept of the ultra-rare hunter, I suppose you would call this sort of thing. Dat1 Seagull, or now the rebranded the Alpha Seagull on the only box that matters, the Xbox, of course. Filthy minds. And he comes in with 1000G, a completed game here, Life is Strange, but I know that he's been smashing it out. So I look forward to seeing more Xbox love from him as we move through the second half of the year. Azura Von, two big platinums here. Number 50, Yakuza 3 Remastered. And that's a milestone, number 50. Congratulations, sir. I know it was depressing to get the black screen platinum, but, you know, look, I'm sure the game was more than the platinum screen, which is a lot more than I can say for many of my games. So congratulations, sir, on that big achievement. And then number 51, not to be outdone here, this is another massive game. This is kind of difficult JRPG as well. The Wise Origin here. It's fantastic. I know those games are not easy. Usually multiple playthroughs and boss rush and everything. So congratulations. Boston George, we haven't heard from him for ages, you know. I heard people wondering if he was dead, if he hadn't survived the COVID. But look, you know, George, he goes into hibernation with these massive games, only to come out swinging, usually followed by some disgusting Ratalaika, which I'm sure he's now working on to rebuild his count. But he has dropped a monster on us, literally here. Number 171, The Monster Hunter World. He goes on to say, it's a great game and a fantastic time with friends. Not the greatest for trophy hunters. Took me the same amount of time as 700 rat plats to finish. And of course, he would know how long that takes. So congratulations, George, and good luck on your adventures with these 700 rat plats you've been stocking up. To be outdone, unfortunately, though, at the absolute last minute on the wire. So you're unlucky not to take the gong this week, George. But Zador VP comes in. Look, this is a big game as well. He's been working on this for what seems like ever. If you're in the Discord, you'll know that we've all had to read this annoying tag that he keeps playing this game. But hopefully now that tag will be removed as of today. He comes in with number 464, Saga Scarlet Grace Ambitions. I know nothing about this game, but he says it is a great game, but 5 playthroughs was a bit much. I mean, I know a little. He told me there's a lighthouse keeper and there's a lot of characters. So, you know, if that interests you, it's probably worth a look up because I believe there's even a trophy for a lighthouse keeper. How often do we get that, listeners? So look, I'm gonna leave you here for today. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope the trophy hunting is going well. I hope if you are playing The Last of Us 2, you find some merit, some enjoyment. You know, if nothing else, you know, a tolerable experience. And look, if you don't, get on Metacritic and just unleash. Why not? Everybody else has. At least you'll feel at home there. But as I said, next week we're going to take a look at it. It will be myself, Joe, and a guest. I feel that all three of us will have very differing opinions on the game. So if you want to hear some, you know, I don't know what will happen. But if you want to find out, you can jump back in at the end of next week. But as I said, if it's not for you, we do have another episode that will probably drop most likely towards the end of that weekend on a Twitch streamer with a difference, I suppose. So until next week, you know where to find us. Come support us. Come say hi. The Discord, the Twitter. It's all in the show notes. Once again, thanks to Floriiss today. It was a fantastic conversation. Be well, stay happy, keep smiling, smash those platinums. Push to Plat podcast are conceived, written, and edited by CJ Anderson in Adobe Audition. YouTube upload handled by repurpose.io. Music licensing by artist.io. Push2Plat would like to thank our Patreon producers Zador VP, Redbeard Rick, T-Bird, Olsero, and Ready to eBeg. Without your support, this show would cease to exist. If you would like to say hi, jump into the Discord in the show notes or on Twitter at Push2Plat. If you're interested in supporting the show, then jump on Patreon, the Push2Plat Patreon, where you can find more information on how to support us and allow us to continue to bring wonderful guests and topics from around the world.
Yeah.